Now, I know I made a video about this before, praising the decision to make promotional cards for Buy a Box actually feel promotional, unique cards that were not included in the actual set. I do stand by that to a degree, but I also think that it is the responsibility of R&D to actually figure out what is going to be broken and what's going to be relatively tame. Something like the promo for Dominaria, Firesong and Sunspeaker, is not going to see play in Standard, it's not going to be busted, it's not going to sweep the Pro Tour. So something like that to me was completely fine. And you could see that a mile away. It wasn't going to be strong. There wasn't enough burn spells anyway. But with the new card Nexus of Fate, the Buy a Box promo, if you're unaware, from Core Set 2019, is close to $40 now. It swept the Pro Tour in the deck called Turbo Fog, which I did think it was going to be a strong card in Standard. If you go back and watch my original video on it, I said that if something like Approach was a thing in Standard, it was hard for me to envision a Standard where this wasn't also going to be a good card. It shuffles itself back into your deck. It doesn't exile itself. I said this before. It was going to be a pretty strong extra turn spell, even if it is a whopping 7 mana. That being said, I still agree with making unique promo cards that are Buy a Box promos or just any sort of promo. Incentivizing players to buy your product should be number one. I don't care if it breaks Standard. I know a lot of Standard players are probably going to be upset with me about that, but it's quite clear here that they are moving in a different direction. They're not going to care as much about Standard in future sets. I think we can all agree they're looking for other ways that they can make money, and Standard has declined in popularity anyway in favor of Commander. More and more people are playing Commander, or more and more people are just not playing Magic the Gathering anymore. I would say a lot of people are getting fed up with Standard, the Standard bannings. It wasn't a good look 6 months ago to a year, I forget when exactly it was, but they banned a whole bunch of cards. People were kind of frightened by that, kind of surprised. It isn't something we saw before in Standard, so confidence in that format went down, and justifiably so. I'm not going to get all bent out of shape here because a card that was only exclusive for the Buy a Box promo is now a $40 card, because if you think about it, if they printed it in the actual set, it still would have broke Standard, it still would have been a popular card. So it's not so much the fact that it's a Buy a Box card, it's the fact that it's a good enough card to break Standard. Why don't we just place the blame where it should be placed and put it all on R&D? They made a card that was Standard legal that was going to break the format. Probably wasn't a good idea to begin with as far as designing the card, not so much that it's a Buy a Box promo and now it's super expensive because it was a lot harder to get. It's $40 now, you could only get it as a Buy a Box promo. It's foil, it's nice and shiny, a lot of people like it. So yeah, it's super expensive. It's going to make the cost of Standard a lot more expensive because in order to compete in this Standard, you're probably going to have to play Nexus. So I can completely understand why people are getting frustrated about that. Standard shouldn't be super expensive to get into. However, it's just more proof that Standard is failing as a format. If you have to be cautious about every single Buy a Box promo you make, it has to be either terrible or it's extremely busted. I mean, yeah, you could make something like Firesong and Sunspeaker that doesn't really see play anywhere, but it kind of falls into that same category of, well, it's not super good, so it's probably not going to be worth much of anything, so your Buy a Box promo, your incentive to buy this isn't going to be that great. Why are people going to be buying your product? You have to make a decision here between making money and caring about Standard. It might seem selfish, but Standard's already failing. They're proving time and time again they're just losing interest in this format. They're losing interest in it to the degree that they don't care if they make big mistakes like Kaladesh, and they don't care if they make big mistakes like Nexus of Fate. My advice to anybody who doesn't like this is don't play Standard. We don't have any problem as Commander players waiting until the card price for Nexus of Fate goes down, or whenever they decide to reprint Nexus of Fate so that it goes down even more. We have no problem waiting because it's a singleton format. Something like this isn't going to break the format. We have a ton of extra turn spells anyway, and a lot more busted shit going on in our format to begin with. So if Standard hasn't already driven a bunch of players to Commander, this probably will. I'm not saying Standard was super affordable before. If you want an example of times where it's been super expensive, look at the Khans of Tarkir block, where you had fetch lands, but they've shown, at least in recent memory, they've shown in recent history though that Standard is falling apart. So I'm not surprised that something like this is going to break Standard, something like this is going to make it harder for you to get into it. The point I'm trying to make here is, why should the argument be about the Buy a Box promo being a good card as opposed to them not making a busted card to begin with? You know what I'm saying? I think we should have good Buy a Box promos. Do they have to be extremely busted, poorly designed cards like this? I don't think so. I think they should be good value cards that make you want to buy an actual booster box instead of just pay for singles like I do most of the time anyway. You should want to take your money, put it right back into the game. And they made it harder to do with terrible promo cards. I didn't want to buy boxes before with Nexus of Fate. I think everybody saw it coming. It was a very good buy a box promo. A lot of people wanted to buy boxes. It's a good strategy. Is it bad for standard? Yes, but come on. Most people that play Magic, I would say, don't play standard. Unless you're competitive, unless you pay attention to Pro Tour, which, good for you. If you like standard, good for you. But a lot of people have stopped playing standard because it's already broken. It was broken before Nexus of Fate. They've had many problems. It doesn't seem to be getting any better. Poor research has been done for the format, the metagame. They just don't know how to make good cards anymore without completely destroying the format. So it's not so much the buy box promo's fault as it is the design quality, attention to detail, acknowledgement of what's already strong in the format. As always, you guys have a wonderful day. Void here signing off. See you all next video.